Good afternoon, it's Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project. Having a coffee break on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, sun shining, tiny house is really looking good. I am so happy right now. I just happen to be taking a coffee break and sitting here. I was out in the storage tent digging through some boxes trying to figure out you know, what my priorities are, what goes where and everything, and looking through some things, making sure the chipmunks haven't done any damage out there. Basically everything I own is in boxes right now. And I happened to find my my military photo album, and considering we just had Veterans Day, I think it would be pretty cool to share it with you. So if you're interested, stick with me a minute here, and we'll go take a walk down memory lane together of my my time in the military. Honestly, I had some of the best experiences and some of the worst experiences in my entire life in the military, but it made me who I am today. I was very shy. I had no self-confidence, no determination, never finished a project. Although some people say it never happens now, but I wouldn't be sitting here with a roof over my head, I think. No, I would have never done something like this. No way. No way would I have attempted something like this. So the military changed me greatly. I think the all-time worst experience I had was sitting in the tank in November down in, I can't remember if it was Hohenfels or Friedberg Germany. And we had freezing rain. And I was in the tank at the time, sitting in the turret with my tank commander. And the rain was pouring down. No, we were out on the back of the tanks. We started out sleeping outdoors on the back of the tank, and the rain was pouring down, and we were in a military sleeping bag. We didn't know it until after it was too late and the water had soaked in, and this was a cold winter November night in Germany, freezing rain, and we were really miserable. We went into the turret and sat there shivering and freezing. And I remember I was so cold and so miserable, praying for the sun to come up like never before in my life. When that sun came up and I felt the warmth finally, it was incredible. I remember one time being so hungry because I didn't, I was thirsty and hungry. They didn't feed us or give us any water. And so I was actually cutting open a cactus to get something to eat and drink. But anyway, it was some good times and bad times. I still miss the sound of a turbine engine firing up at 4 a.m. There's nothing like it in the world. It's exhausting to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but the Abrams tank turbine engine is like nothing in the world. I still remember that sound when you push that starter button. I miss it. I miss a lot of it. I miss the sound of the tracks hitting the ground and the vibration as a tank goes by you. I love it. So anyway, let's go through the photo album together. Now, I'd like to warn you, this is a, there might be some very embarrassing and possibly non-Christian-like things in here. Let me break down the legs. This was my time in the military before I was a Christian. I'm going to try to skip over the embarrassing stuff, but soldiers are soldiers, and there might be some photos in here that you see before I move it away. So let's see if I can do this with a camera in front of me, and let's go through some photos together. Here's basic training. I don't know if you can see that very well. Just posing. I got to have a couple guns here and there sometimes. Here was a road march. We did a lot of road marches out there. Did a lot of road marches. This is awkward because I face different directions. There's me on the pistol training range, the 9mm. I was quite impressed how lightweight it was and how easy to handle. Couple basic training, physical training shots. Lunchtime after a long road march. Let me just take this camera off, it'll be easier, off the tripod. That's freaky. Leftovers of camouflage makeup. There's us doing some training. These are some old faded, these were all Polaroids. I had a Polaroid camera, and I made a lot of money, I'll tell you. I smuggled a Polaroid into the barracks, and you weren't supposed to have cameras. And I was selling them for $1 a photo, and I was making some serious money until somebody stole my camera one day. But anyway, they're really faded. These are from 1990. These are from 1996. Just a little scene. We were doing some training and made a little pose there. Yeah, the photos are getting old. It's hard to see some of these. Yeah, that's all basic training here. We were having some fun with a couple guns. Camouflage. I was very proud of my camouflage. If you can see that at all. It's barely visible anymore. Boy, yeah, the photos are aging. Oh boy, Polaroids don't last. Another camouflage photo. Breaking down some weapons and stuff. There's the bullet. That is the bullet that I fired. That is the size, and if I remember, I think it was like, I want to say 60 or 80 pounds. I can't remember specifically. It's a 120mm tank bullet, and that is heavy. Actually, I believed in God because I remember I was there at a guy's baptism. I gotta look him up one day. Oh boy, this is embarrassing. Oh boy. I was scrawny. The drill sergeants let us have their hat one day just for fun. Take some photos. Army dress uniform. So I hope you guys all enjoy this. Oh, here we go. This is graduation ceremonies. There's some of my photos of graduation. And my family visited me in Fort Knox, Kentucky. And we had a nice time visiting some of the tanks and running around on them. I believe my parents must have taken these photos during graduation ceremonies because there was, yeah, there's all the officers and stuff around. And then, they had some demonstrations set up in the hall. People making their beds and inspections. Fort Knox. We went to Fort Knox. The actual where the gold bullion is kept. So I got to see that, the real deal. There was the me standing in my uniform outside the hotel where we stayed on the way home. I got to go home for a while after that. The neatest locker I ever had in my life. They don't allow you to keep a mess. Alright, there's an embarrassing photo. We'll turn the page. There was some goofball stuff in there. Oh, obstacle training course. That was nice. Confidence course, they called it. That actually was pretty dangerous. A guy fell off and got badly broken up from the top of there. You had to climb up one side down and over the other. I don't remember much about the confidence course. It was, for me, it was pretty easy. There was my tent out in the woods. We learned how to make a tent and dig a trench around it in case it rained. We camped out a lot outdoors. First aid, did a lot of first aid training. Yeah, another camouflage photo. Map reading. Did a lot of map reading skills. They actually took us out in groups of 3 dumped us off in the middle of nowhere and said, they gave us maps and a compass and said, find your way to this point. And some people didn't find their way back. They had to go search for us. Here we were posing, making it look funny, making a funny photo. We're all pointing in different directions just for kicks. We did a good time. Sitting there looking out over the tank. Beautiful scene. Really beautiful. I also had some amazing sunsets sitting on top of that tank. Tanks in the mud. It's fun stuff. Smoke signals. The tank has smoke grenades. That was pretty cool. 80-ton tank tow truck. I got the privilege of getting a break and going out and checking him out, going through the woods. That was a tank wrecker. That was the what they used to haul us out with. Oh, we had to medevac a guy. This was Fort Hood, Texas. He broke his own leg with a tank. He elevated the turret, which brings the turret on the gun goes up, but the breech comes down, and he had his leg under it, and he crushed his own leg. I helped medevac him. It was exciting. Guard duty. Playing in the mud. Did a lot of playing in the mud. The tank can go through a lot. I love it. Spent a lot of time in the loaded up in the trucks, packed like sardines. Boy, that was uncomfortable. They didn't care about your comfort, I'll tell you that. There's another neatly made bed. We had I got bathing shoes, tennis shoes, dress shoes, combat boots, and then the guy on the top bunk, he had all his. I don't remember, I'm thinking this was California NTC, National Training Center. And just some museum stuff and some girls. They took us to a mud wrestling show. I skip all that. Got some more photos of the barracks. Oh, there's some more graduation photos mixed in. There's some of the guys lined up, waiting to go home. Parents waiting to go get them. Friedberg Germany, Ray Barracks. That was my my room in Friedberg, Germany. Now there we had a bit more leisure. I got my Mexican blanket when I was down at Fort Hood. I went down to Mexico and bought a blanket there. Kept that. And I had a bicycle there, and of course it was a little bit more freedom. This was after basic, you get a room, and you just got to keep it clean and maintained. Got to do a lot of running around on various tanks with friends and stuff. This was I got some photos. The tank is pretty crowded. There's the loader seat in the M1 Abrams. I'll give you a second to absorb that. It's 90-degree angles. It's very tight. You sit at 90 degrees, your legs at 90 degrees, and your back at 90 degrees, or your waist, and it's tight. You don't have room to move. Here's a gunner's seat right here, and the tank commander's seat. Very crowded, not very roomy, not very comfortable. And there's the loader's M240. That's a 240 millimeter machine gun. And then there's the driver's hatch where I spent most of my time. This was the best. You are laying down. When you want to go to sleep, you just shut your eyes. And I had cubby holes in here, and I had things stashed away. It was the best. They wanted to promote me to gunner because I was an awesome gunner, and I did not want it. Because the gunner sits at 90-degree angles permanently, cannot move, and has his arms squished to his side. If he doesn't, he gets medevaced like the other guy did. The driver is cozy, laying down, and has all the room in the world. Would you want to leave that seat? Not me. And there's the view I had of the world outside the tank. Not very much of a view. I had windshield wipers, which is sort of necessary. There's the gun turret above my head. I did have 3 periscopes. There's the there's one up front, and then there was one on each side. So there's the front view, and then there's one here and one here. It wasn't much of a view out of the tank at all. Rail heading, Grafenwehr, Germany, sending out the troops, going out to I want to say, I think that one was Macedonia. The mutant. We liked him though. Grafenwehr, Germany. The barracks. We had the mummy sacks, and you had to roll them up when you were done. When you weren't using it, roll it up neatly in the perfect way. Oh, this is cool. There's a bunker in Germany. After World War II, there was a whole row and series of training bunkers, which our soldiers went and blew up. They set them up with explosives and blew them up so they could never be used again. I hope my camera has enough battery power. Yes, here we go. The West Wall test bunkers. German pre-World War II military strategy included fortification of the border between Germany and France. In 1936, construction began of the West Wall, or the Siegfried Line, which would include some 22,000 bunkers, tank traps, and other fortifications. Similar bunkers were built by the Wehrmacht in the Grafenwehr training area for testing and evaluation. These bunkers were destroyed by the U.S. Army after World War II. I got the privilege of being in some of these bunkers and touring them. Actually, it was raining really bad one day, and we all took shelter inside one of these half-demolished bunkers to get out of the slop. It was cold and wet, and that was just so cool. It's like a scene out of a movie. That's one of my favorite photos. Here we are running through the trenches in Germany, Grafenwehr, Germany, running through the trenches. There were wild boars and pigs in the trenches, so you had to be careful. It was really dangerous. Look, there's trees growing up out of the middle of the trench. You can see the trenches. That was the training grounds. Hitler's training grounds, actually. There's another view of one of the trenches. Former village of Hupfenhoe, church and cemetery. They took these buildings, these villages, and kicked everybody out and relocated the villagers who lived there and used the buildings as training grounds. You can see all the bullet holes. See all the pockmarked with bullet holes through the years? That was used for training grounds for shooting at and everything else. More of the ruins. Made them into training grounds, so he had people kicked out. Here is Hitler's personal bunker in Germany, overlooking the Hohenfeld's training area. This is where he watched his soldiers train. You can see the entire training field down below. There's Hitler's bunker. This is where Hitler himself sat and looked out this bunker out over the soldiers training in the field below. I was there. How cool is that? Railheading in Hohenfels. I was terrified of railheads because I had to drive that tank onto the trains, and the tracks of the Abrams tank hung over halfway on both sides of the rail car, and it was terrifying. You had to really trust the guy guiding you. Another sadly really faded photo. My last few months in the Army, I became chaplain's assistant and got to drive the Humvee for the chaplain. I decked that thing out. I was inside an old T-72. There's my Humvee. Now this is a story in itself. They didn't like the chaplain too much and didn't really care about him very much. And so when we were going to go out to, I think it was Grafenwehr, they gave me a Humvee with no engine, no top, no doors, no tires, and said, "You've got 2 weeks to put this together." Well, I didn't know a thing about a Humvee. So my chaplain was pulling strings, getting us parts, and I was pulling strings with the mechanics, begging, pleading, doing whatever to get them to help. In 2 weeks, we built the best, most coveted Humvee in the entire, I want to say platoon, but the entire company, battalion, the entire battalion coveted our Humvee. We had everything through and through, brand new. It was beautiful. And then I took paint and I sealed the tops. The seams were known to leak, so I sealed them off. A Humvee, Humvee can go through so much. You can't get these stuck if you know what you're doing. And then I went to the medics and I got a medical first aid blanket, those silver foiled ones. I put it on the bed of the Humvee in the back. Do I have a side? Yeah. The back here, the entire back section was, do we have seats? No, we had this folded down here. We had the front seats, and then the entire back section was our sleeping quarters. And I decked this out with foil blankets underneath, on top, and in behind. And we were cozy. We had the best. I had a propane little cook stove, and I had my Thermos brand thermos back in the day when they were made. That thing could fall out of a Humvee at 60 miles an hour. You go pick it up, brush the dirt off, and keep on going. They were tough. Yeah, I love that Humvee. That was some good times. I decked that thing out. I built a shelf, a storage shelf above our heads in between us. Had some goodies in there. I had the Nintendo Game Gear, and I had a adapter. I hooked it up to the battery of the Humvee, and I was playing video games while the chaplain was out doing his stuff. I had to watch the vehicle and stay with it. Well, anyway, there's a few photos of my time in the military. I have another photo album. If you guys are interested, maybe I'll dig it out one day and I can show you. Got some beautiful photos of NTC National Training Center, some tank views of driving on the tank, and just beautiful, beautiful memories. Anyway, hope that wasn't boring to you. If you like it, let me know, and if you're interested, I can pull out the other photo album one day. And hope you enjoyed the walk down memory lane with me. Thanks for being with me, guys.